the travel and lodging can become pretty costly doing that 3 times a year for the volunteers. So much so that their legislative body passed or adopted a resolution to formally request the area agencies on aging and the local counties to help provide the financial assistance that would provide the reimbursements for costs that they incur while acting in that capacity. Historically, the AAAs have provided dinner for the first night of the general sessions. However, we do not receive any additional state assistance for our work with or oversight of the committee. And in order for us to provide financial assistance beyond that, we would have to cut our services. So we're all here in hopes that you will consider the request for financial assistance to reimburse them in their representation on the county within the North Carolina Senior Tar Heel Legislature. And I am going to ask Ms. Parker and Ms. Wilkins if either one of them would like to give you specific examples of the efforts that they are and all of the good things that they're accomplishing within Northampton County and how they're bringing that to the state legislative body and representing your citizens.
I'm Clara Parker, and I've been a delegate for the Tar Heel legislators for approximately 12 years, up to 2 years until the COVID. The county supported us, but after that time, the Office on Aging has not put it in their budget to support us. We bring a lot of funding to the county. We go to the legislators and to our senators. We're on their backs to bring funding to several things, all the things that affect our senior citizens. They are the vulnerable group, and we are aging, as they say, 10,000 a day. So we should have a big voice in the needs that we are presenting to our legislature to go forth. We usually have about, this year we had like 60 some items that we thought was really in need for senior citizens, but we always narrow it down to 5 priorities. And I know time is, you got a lot on your program, but I wanted to thank you for giving us the time for doing this and to consider this so we can keep our work up forward. And it's getting costly to us personally, and we've been footing the bill for the last 4 or 5 meetings at least ourselves. So we must want to try to serve the best way we can for our senior citizens and give them a voice if we're putting up this money ourselves. And I would appreciate it if y'all could possibly put this in your budget to go to the Office on Aging to give us some funding. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Wilkins. Thank you. Thank you for that information. I need to ask one, how much money are you all thinking about asking for?
Well, last month, meetings, and we're trying to move together and keep one bits. Anyway. So I would say
Thank you. Thank you. Board members, you have any questions you need to ask, sir? Thank you so much. If you put that in writing to our county manager, we would appreciate it, okay? The amount that you are requesting, please give it to our county manager, okay? And then we'll, yeah, anytime before he present the budget, okay? At this time, let's go to number 6, Oprah Salamit, our attorney.
Thank you, Chairman Tyner. Board members, on February 14th of this year, the Department of Justice sent out notice to all counties informing them that they have reached a proposed settlement in the second wave of the national opioid litigation. And this second wave, as it's being called, is primarily against CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart, and a few other parties for approximately $21 billion. North Carolina's state and local governments stand to receive more than $600 million. We do not know Northampton County's proposed share at this time. However, these settlements, as the first wave, it requires all local governments, all counties to sign into the settlement. So what you have in your package is a proposed resolution to join in on the settlement and also authorize the execution of what's also included a supplemental agreement, basically to make sure we're at the table for these funds. I'm happy to answer any questions. Oh, and I will note the deadline to enter in to approve this is April 18. So I would submit maybe at our next board meeting that this be an action item. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Board members, if you have any questions, you need to ask at this time. Any question? If not, may we continue on. Trillium Health Advisory Board, having your information. The person whom they have been recommended for this board. You see her name, so. Don Haley Mack, been recommended for that board. Well, members, this is coming before you. Madam Clerk, did you have any other names? You want to join us? Okay, thank you. This will be on our agenda. As you all speak down on our consent agenda at our next meeting, we will approve. If you have a question, and the board members have a question. The board member.
No question.
Thank you.
No question.
Thank you.
No question.
Okay, thank you. Still, it's good hearing you.
No question.
Okay, good question. Okay, thank you. At this time, we shall move forward. We have an update on the James H. Jones North Carolina Civil Rights Trail Marker Project. Jones.
Good evening. Chairman Tyner, commissioners and others, thank you for this opportunity to be before you. I come to you tonight with good news. The last time I was here, I was asking for your support in your partnership in the application for a North Carolina Civil Rights Trail Marker for James H. Jones. I want to report that the marker application has been through its process. The marker has been approved. And right now, the digital trail marker is out there on the website for Northampton County. I want you to have an idea about what that looks like when you pull it up. Probably have it here. But I want you to see exactly what it looks like. The digital trail marker.
Thank
Go
you.
out there to the North
Thank you.
Carolina African Heritage Committee. Vision site. Of Northampton County. Press on the purple dot. And you will see Northampton County's trail marker for James H. Jones pop up. It's beautiful. Okay, and it's something that we can be proud of here in Northampton County. We're on the map. We're not home strong or whatever they call them, but we're on the map. There have been 25 of these markers awarded so far. 3 of them have been for individuals, only 3. And James H. Jones in Northampton County is one of those. The physical marker is not here yet, but we will be receiving a physical marker. And it will be installed over at Central Services offices, consistent with James Jones's contributions in education to the county. We had wanted it to be at the residence, but the sponsors and the committee did not think that was such a good idea. They wanted it to be where there was more traffic, where it could be accessible to students, researchers, visitors, et cetera. So we're going with the Central Services Office. We have a committee, a small committee who's been working quietly to plan a memorable event for the unveiling ceremony and the dedication ceremony for this marker. That is Mr. Dick Collier, Ms. Judy Collier, and Miss Lily Purnell. All right, so we're working on that. The plan is to have, the framework is in place, okay? The plan is to have a film screening in the morning of Chairman Jones, Improbable Leader, the documentary film about his life and his leadership here in Northampton County. And we have the dedication ceremony and the unveiling. Within that, we're going to have a nationally known civil rights historian to come and give us a high-level perspective on what this all means to us today in 2023, given what's going on in our country and in our county. The public will be invited. I have run into an administrative issue, and since the county commissioners partnered with me as the nonprofit on this project, I want to know if you will partner again with me on the facilities application for using the school board room to show the film. So a film, 1 hour, followed by the dedication ceremony outside. And that's what we have, but there's an administrative wrinkle there. I need my partners to partner with me on this.
Certainly.
So I want to know if that's possible. It's for liability and other kinds of issues that me as an individual are not equipped to do by myself. So I need my partners to do that with me.
Certainly, we partnered with you in the beginning. We need not drop you now. Okay, we partnered with you in getting this done for Mr. Jones.
Yeah, it was a Northampton County project. It's not a personal project, except that I did the work because I knew that I needed to do the work. You weren't going to do the work, but the work is done. Northampton County is on the map. We want to have a memorable event for our citizens. The public will be invited. And I just need to be able to move forward with the planning with my committee, who are all on board and all enthusiastic about what we're doing. So I don't know what the right approach is to this.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to partner with you. We thank you so much. We appreciate you. We appreciate all what you and your committee is doing. But we'll partner with you. Our county manager will do all we need to do to continue to make sure that this happens.
So I need to be in touch with Mr. County Manager.
That's right. County
Okay.
manager, make sure.
All right.
Board members, am I right?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
No problem, Mr. Taylor.
That is correct.
Anna,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Uh-huh.
I'm looking at you. You were saying that you ran into a wrinkle somewhere.
Yes,
What was the wrinkle?
that there's an application called a facilities use application
Okay.
that you have to apply to the Northampton County Public Schools if you want to use one of their facilities for something. And my application went in, but I was told that it's not a school sponsored event. And their policy is that there needs to be an insurance declaration, accompanying the application along with a deposit, et cetera. And so I don't have an insurance policy to cover screening over at the school board office.
Yeah, we'll settle that. Our county manager will settle that. Okay,
I
Okay,
just wanted to be clear, Anna.
right.
yes.
Got it.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Board members, any other question?
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to say thank you for your tenacity of doing this for your daddy and for the citizens of this county to know the importance of the work and the time and the dedication that not only him, but your entire family gave as he trailblazed during that time. It was more than one person.
Yes,
It affected the entire family and affected the entire community in a positive way because of what your family did during this time. So why am I getting teary eyed? Thank you. But when I work in that building and when I see his picture, it has always meant something to me, that picture with that gavel, more than just something on the wall.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is historical. It's historical in a lot of ways. We don't have a marker representing an African American of any kind in Northampton County. This will be a first. He was a first. This will be a first. We're on to first and continue to make history.
Thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. At this time, we shall ask Dr. Elliott, you please come forward. From the community college, Dr. Williams, the chairman of Halifax County, Halifax Community College Board of Directors.
Chairman Tyler,
Yes.
commissioners and staff, thank you for the opportunity for being here. I'm Mike Williams, chairman of the Board of Trustees of Halifax Community College. On behalf of our board, I bring you greetings and thank you for the opportunity to introduce our new president, the sixth president of the college, Dr. Patrina B. Elliott. A year and a half ago, in September of 2021, our most recent president, Dr. Michael Elam, fell ill, and in January of 2022, lost his battle with cancer. Vice President David Forrester stepped up and filled in as acting president while the board engaged the very capable services of the National Association of Community College Trustees to lead us in our national search for our next president. Early in the search process, the board established three primary objectives for our search. We were looking for a leader who would, in partnership with the board, number one, strengthen the college's connections with the community. Number two, find new ways to meet the personal growth, academic and training needs of citizens and employees and employers in our service area. And finally, number three, to recover students that we lost during the pandemic. We are confident that we have found that leader in the person of Dr. Elliott, who assumed the position of president this past January 1st. Excuse me. Dr. Elliott is a native of Northampton County, born and raised here in our service area. She's come home. She holds multiple degrees from UNC Chapel Hill and North Carolina A&T State University. She has a 27-year wide background of education, leadership positions in her resume, most recently at Robeson Community College. She possesses all of the skills that you would expect of a community college president. And in addition, I think you will find her to be bright and engaging and articulate. Dr. Elliott.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Chairman Tyner, commissioners and staff. It is truly my honor to stand before you this evening. I wrote down a few remarks simply because I was raised Baptist. And you know, if you give us a microphone, we could talk all night. And I promise you, I won't stand before you long. I want to thank my chairman, Dr. Williams, for such a gracious introduction. As you heard Dr. Williams say, I have been fortunate to have worked in higher education now for almost 3 decades. Over that time, I've had the opportunity to lead a statewide UNC center, serve as Dean of Hampton University's Graduate College, and Vice President of Academic Affairs at Shaw University, to name a few. I have never considered it a career, but rather an educational ministry. That is why my appointment at Halifax Community College as the 6th and first female president, I see it as a divine assignment. For you see, my appointment allowed me to return home. So serving in this role is personal for me. Some of you may be aware, and as Dr. Williams just stated, I'm a proud native of Northampton County. Born and raised in the little small town, no stoplight of Severn, North Carolina. And I was fortunate to grow up at a time in which the community was just as instrumental in raising me as my mother. This community that I speak of included individuals such as my neighbor, Miss Elizabeth, my coach, Mr. Matthews, my principal, Mr. Edwards, who instilled discipline in me with just a look in his eye, and that beautiful, sweet, and caring secretary of Willis Hare Elementary School, Miss Tyner,
Oh, my.
who treated me as if I was one of her very own.
My.
My mother was self-educated and disabled. When I was born, she was no longer able to continue working at Severn Peanut Company. Despite her situation, she always taught me to never allow my circumstance to define my destiny. I was able to defy the odds. And after graduating from high school, I became a first-generation college student who went on to earn multiple degrees. In fact, I earned my doctorate the day before my mother passed. Chairman Tyner and commissioners, this work that I have embarked upon at Halifax Community College, again, is personal for me. Although it has been 30 years, many circumstances are still the same. Some of our students are still challenged with barriers that they must overcome. Whether it is caring for a parent or a loved one, juggling more than one job, balancing work, school, and family, food insecurities, homelessness, or connectivity issues. Although this is unfortunately the case, I stand before you with some good news tonight. Halifax Community College is our college. It is the community's college. And it can be and will be the answer for so many, whether they desire to pursue a 4-year degree after leaving us or receive short-term training credentials that will help them to earn a significant wage. As a native of this community, I thank Halifax Community College's Board of Trustees for giving me the opportunity to come home. I believe to whom much is given, much is required. I'm elated to give back to a community that has given so very much to me. Thank you so much for allowing me to have a moment to come before you this evening.
Okay, thank you. Welcome back home. Welcome back home. Have high expectations for Halifax Community College.
Sir, we plan to deliver.
And I know why you're here, because you want more money. See the county manager, okay? Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Northampton County, that's give us all the ammunition we need in this county to make this county all it needs to be. She is a living testimony, just as I am and all the other board members, what Northampton County have produced. I just want to say to you, thank you for coming. And we expecting great things. Well, I think we have probably the largest student population from Northampton County with early college than anybody else at your place. Take care of our babies. Take care of our babies. And that's my grandchildren too. Thank you. At this time, we shall ask if there are no other comments from any board members. Any board members?
Welcome home.
Okay, board members.
Just want to say welcome
Okay.
all to say Dr. Elliott. Go Rams.
And Northampton Ray. Okay, at this time, we're gonna ask Franklin D. Wills to come talk to us about the change in playground equipment. Creases School, if you will.
Commissioners, public, good evening. Come before you. We were given an assignment to purchase playground equipment for Creasy Elementary School, and we were before you the last meeting. You did approve that, but there were some concerns about the swing set and the liabilities. So we were given a directive again to find something that was comparable, that was more safe, and you have before you three options. The cost will increase. One, I forgot what it's called. One is a dome climber, and the other is
Lava rock.
lava rock cost the most. I was gonna say that one for last. And it's another piece of equipment. You all have pictures of them. I think it's a three-way climber or something of that nature, but we have three options to take the place of the swing set. Pardon me?
Or climber.
Four climb, that's right. And there are three options there at an increase of $300.
Thank you. Well, members, you got any questions you want to ask there? I think came to our attention after we had approved this at the last meeting, that one of the pieces of equipment, in particular the swing were not as safe, and we were worried about the liability that we would have with those out there. So we wanted to substitute those for something, one of the other pieces that were given. Commissioner Faulkner, I think you want to say something.
Yes, when I worked with an institution that was securing playground equipment for children, and during that process, the liability for insurance costs with swings, they were opting not to add swings and add other types of playground equipment along to continue to have the students the ability, or children the ability to play, but in a safer environment. Swings have a lot of accidents, whether that's hitting someone as they're coming back, or the children swinging so high and falling out of them. So I just brought it to their attention to investigate to see what that would be if we replaced it with the more a safer type of equipment for children. Just the swing part, the other part was fine.
Okay. Well, members, you have any questions about that?
And I apologize for not catching it that night.
I'm just glad you caught it, because we in the liability for us as a board.
And the safety for the children.
Okay, are you had on either one of them, or you want to get back with us on that at our next meeting?
It's three different options. So I guess at the next meeting, we have to decide on which option. So you said that the price difference for I wish we could have.
Four climber and the dome climber are $300. Lava rock is a lot more expensive.
All right, what you all do, just be prepared at the next meeting when we come to vote, that we'll be able to vote on one of those pieces of equipment. We got the information and we'll put it on the agenda. We'll vote on that piece of equipment. Okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate you. Really do. At this time, we're gonna have the resolution about prosperity zone, our attorney.
Thank you, Chairman Tyner. Board members, you have been approached by the Upper Coastal Plain Council of Governments to support and approve a resolution directed to the North Carolina General Assembly to request a realignment of the current statewide prosperity zones in North Carolina. And it's my understanding there are currently 8 prosperity zones throughout the state, and their purpose is to enhance collaboration and cooperation between state agencies and local governments for economic development. The resolution, and currently Northampton County is split between 2 prosperity zones. And so the Upper Coastal Plain Council of Government is seeking that Northampton County, along with Edgecombe, Halifax, Nash, and Wilson counties, be wholly assigned to a newly created central prosperity zone. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
I think this is important to us, Commissioner, because of the fact they really want to put us in Wake County and Franklin County and Durham County. We want to stay right where we are. I think that the consensus of the General Assembly of our representatives likewise. We want to stay where we are. So I'll have this before you. Do you have any questions about this? So yes,
I have a question.
yes, ma'am.
Attorney Michaela, if we go over to that zone, what is that anything in that for us? Are there more incentives as far as grants or monies for Northampton County?
I can't answer that, Ms. Broadnax Taylor. I don't know. I'm happy to get an answer for you.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
the materials in the board book basically state that it's currently unwieldy and not efficient in its current state.
Mhm.
So I guess I'm going to defer to the expertise of the COG on this, but I'm happy to get you some more information.
I can share a little bit that, in where we're currently positioned, we're lumped in with, if you would look at Northampton County, go all the way east to the coast and then down some more. And so the people in Northampton County and Halifax County, Wilson County, that 95 corridor, have a unique and similar interest when they seek economic development, different from the economic development that a fishing community or a coastal community might have. But if we are lumped into that same prosperity zone, then our prosperity is sometimes overlooked. If that makes sense. So if we're in that 3, then we have 3 counties that are like-minded that can band together and seek economic future endeavors together. And so that's why, and it's not diminishing the effectiveness, it's actually putting like-minded people in a smaller bubble that they can join together to get things that they, all 3 in this situation, would be wanting to go for it. So joining with Wilson County,
Absolutely.
would actually, we already, our economic developers talk a lot with Halifax County because we're next door neighbors. So we would just be adding another, that would be kind of in there, but and it would break the rest of the part of that we're currently in, it would break that into 2 more zones. So that one zone breaking it into 3 parts. And so that, I hope that can explain a little bit.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And what that would also do would be the little fish, and with the big fish, they're gonna eat us up.
Okay.
Make it plain. Yeah, that's what it amounts to. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we're gonna have a proposal to increase rural fire protection grant contract fee. That's it.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Start out by saying thank you guys for having us here tonight. We appreciate the opportunity. Most of you should have this proposal in front of you. The objective here is to decrease the financial burden placed on county fire departments. Due to inflation and added services, county departments have found themselves struggling to keep equipment updated. In order to maintain the current lower ISO ratings, additional funding is needed. If these ISO ratings, were to go up, the taxpayers in this county would suffer by paying higher property insurance insurance. This proposal, the Northampton County Firemen's Association unanimously voted to bring this proposal to the County Board of Commissioners for consideration on February 21st, 2023. The proposed change would help align Northampton County with the operating fund contributions surrounding county departments are receiving. Currently, our county fire departments who have an established tax, fire service tax district are receiving $850 annually. Excuse me. And the departments without an established tax district are receiving $3,850 to provide fire protection for residents and property owners outside of the town limits. This annual contribution is considerably less than Halifax, Hertford, and Warren counties. I have placed their established contribution amounts below. These amounts are paid to departments on top of the tax money they receive from their district collections. over the past 5 to 7 years, most fire departments in this county have taken on increased responsibilities through added services such as vehicle extrication and first responding to medical emergencies. These added services combined with lower donations have placed further financial burden on historically underfunded organizations. The North Atlantic County Firemen's Association is asking the County Board of Commissioners to consider raising all county fire departments' annual contract fee to $20,000 annually, based on the average surrounding county contributions. I have some data from all my constituents here. On average, we respond to our call volume is 80% outside of town limits. I know my department in Rich Square has spent over $130,000 in the last 5 years on vehicle extrication alone. So we're doing what we can to try to make sure we can maintain our current services. And I'll be glad to answer any questions now.
Well, members, if you have any questions, I want to know, you asking for $20,000 per fire,
Per fire department.
for each.
Right now, the contract fee, we sign a contract every year, and we sign a contract saying we will provide fire service to our 9E district, which is outside the town limits. And then you guys pay us $850 to do so. We're asking for that contract fee to be upped to align itself better with our surrounding counties' contributions. And like I said, I gathered this information from Warren, Hertford, and Halifax County. And this is official numbers. This is on top of what they all collect through their fire service tax district rate. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Does Rich Square get any type of grant funding
Yes.
to assist you with the cost?
Yes, ma'am. Sometimes, we apply for every grant that's out there as possible. Sometimes we do get it, sometimes we don't. We use Operation Roundup through REA. We use the state matching grant every year. We try to use the FEMA AFG grant to do the same, but sometimes we do get it, sometimes we don't.
Board members, question? Another question? Any other question? Any other question, board member?
Like I said, I've got a slew of data I could provide, from the price, the increase in price, the age of the equipment that we're using right now. Anything you guys would like that would help with the conversation.
I say it, but I need to say it. I see some of our fire departments look like they equipment and everything is well, while some of them are not. So
Some of them
are
are.
you asking for the same amount every fire department? I'm just asking a question.
It was a unified discussion with the chiefs. So some departments do prosper better than others. Some of our amounts that we see from taxes are considerably less. So
I think our county manager probably take all that into consideration. And budget. Any information you have, you need to give it to them.
Okay.
Because we're gonna deal with facts when we start. Budget, we just gotta deal with facts. It'd be nice, we ain't trying to cut anybody, but but we just want to be fair and making sure that at least all of our fire departments are functioning. Okay, some are looking real good, new building, new everything, just about. Some don't look well, might not be doing this well, okay? So those are kind of information we need, okay?
So should I follow up, Mr. Phillips?
Yes, follow me. You need all that information in our budget session.
All right. Any further questions?
Any question?
Thank you all.
Thank you all for all you do.
Yes, sir.
Say that, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Do not take that for granted, okay? At this time, we have a proposed joint resolution for the Halifax and Northampton Regional Airport. Mr. Johnson.
Good afternoon, Chairman Tyner and members of the board and staff. I'm Ralph Johnson. I am currently the chairman of the Halifax Northampton Regional Airport Authority. Just to give you a little bit of history of me, spent 30 years in law enforcement, retired, been flying for 38 years and started managing the airport, the Halifax Northampton Regional Airport when it first opened. And I managed that for about 10 years and now I'm on the board. And just last year I got to be chairman. So I love aviation and set your mind at ease. We're not here to ask for any more money.
Oh, man, yeah, go on talk.
Now you can sit back and relax. But seriously, I have Christina Wells, our airport administrator. She does a tremendous job for us. She's also assistant county manager in Halifax. Some of you may know her. She's going to give you the little details, but just to let you understand what we're asking. Years ago, when the airport was formed, the state legislation set out certain rules that we had to go by. And one of them being leasing our land for building hangars, individual hangars. Well, that worked out pretty good. Now we have a person that wants to build a business, a maintenance hangar, which we don't have a lease for, the type of lease that he would need. And he's putting a pretty good investment in it, close to $500,000 into a maintenance hangar with a paint shop, work on avionics on the airplane and so forth. But our limit is 25 years that we have presently that we could lease the land. What we're looking for, and we have a resolution worked out that would allow state legislation to give us a 40-year term lease. And that's really basically all we're asking for. You as Northampton County, as partners with Halifax County and City of Roanoke Rapids, you all support us. Greatly appreciate it. Without your contribution and help, our airport couldn't exist. So I'm going to introduce Christina and let her give you a little details of what we're looking for. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are y'all?
Well,
So just to add on to what Chairman Johnson has said, it's really just a simple, you have this resolution before you. Okay, so I'm not going to read it to you. I know you guys have already done your homework for the night. So simply, when this enabling legislation was established in 1997, the airport was small. It was located in Roanoke Rapids and relatively limited in scope. But as you know, we have since expanded and truly become that regional airport for Halifax, Northampton, and the city of Roanoke Rapids. Key to economic development. We get tons of traffic. We're also certainly well utilized by the military. But as Ralph noted, there's one thing that we haven't had, and that is a commercial hangar to actually perform maintenance operations. So there's the potential for job creation and to bring additional revenue to the airport. And that's always helpful. Then we don't come with our hand out needing more from our sponsoring governments. So the legislation that was established in 1997, as Chairman Johnson said, only allowed for a 25-year maximum lease, land lease. So what we're finding now, if someone's coming in for a commercial enterprise and wants to invest $500,000, they need a little more time, a little more assurance for that land lease to establish their business and get their return on investment. We've seen several other airports who've done the same thing. They started early and they had to later come back and change their enabling legislation. The Raleigh Executive Jetport is one example. They recently underwent a similar situation. The FAA's maximum recommendation for a lease is 50 years. We decided to go under that at 40 with a possible extension, but we wouldn't go beyond the FAA's recommendation. So we're coming to you tonight asking you to join with Halifax. Well, first, the Halifax Northampton Regional Airport Authority passed the resolution first. Then we went to Halifax County and the city of Roanoke Rapids most recently. So we're just asking you to join with the other partners, pass this resolution to amend that enabling legislation. And our next step will then be to take it to Representative Michael Ray and Senator Bobby Hoenig, who will introduce this amendment to the enabling legislation during this session. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
well, members, if you have any questions you need to ask. Any questions? seem to be fixed to me that we need to that opportunity. To expand that airport would mean great expansion for Northampton County likewise. Are there any questions, board members? No questions. Thank you so much for your presentation.
And
We'll be back in front
I'd like
with
to extend an invitation for any and all of you to come out and visit the airport.
you. Will do. Will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Then the next one we have is proposed increase paramedics and EMT pay rate. Sanu,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
Board of Commissioners. As Director of EMS, I come before you tonight with one of the most gravest concerns of probably my career is the recruitment and retention of EMS personnel. This is one of these things that I've tried to fight on my own for the past 2.5 years. But since COVID, you know, our healthcare world has been turned upside down. And for a lack of a better term, I hate to use the word a mess, but that's exactly what it is. From the emergency rooms, clinics, and to various EMS agencies across North Carolina. The labor shortage is nationwide. North Carolina is no exception. Since July of 2020, we have experienced here in Northampton County about a 56% turnover rate. Before COVID, it was about 5%. We never, unless you got fired, we never had anybody leave county EMS. Another thing that went on right before the pandemic, North Carolina issued a positions letter with the North Carolina Board of Nursing, making it where a paramedic can work other places besides an ambulance. They work in an emergency room, working in doctor offices, fast meds, every type of clinic you can think of. And just to give you some stats, only about 29% of the total licensed paramedics in North Carolina today even work on the ambulance or work for a county government. All right. In 2022,
Would be
North Carolina.
This right here.
Oh, in North Carolina in 2022, they only tested and licensed 154 new paramedics, while in the same time frame, 2,000 left the workforce. 39% of all EMS licensed people, that's EMT and paramedics, 39% of the total left the workforce in 2022 for other jobs. So it's set us up for some problems that we're an aging workforce. Here in Northampton County, we have 7 paramedics that are going to retire within 7 years. And just this past, to simplify it and put it down into this current fiscal year that we're in, we have had 10 people leave and since July 1st. And we've had 1 that's come to me Friday and they're planning to depart in April. So that's going to be 11. There are no more recruits. There is nothing in the pipeline. This is it. What we're doing right now is unsustainable. I feel if Board of Commissioners do not take some action, that we would never be able to stand against something like COVID again without replenishing our workforce. There's a whole lot of people who just up and left. They don't want to put up with the hours we work, different things that EMS has to do. That in combination of during COVID, the community colleges stopped teaching classes. Where the EMT recruits, except for what we did here in the county, got down to a trickle and the paramedic faucet was cut off. There's no paramedics waiting to come to Northampton County to work. To where we've had to redesign the way we respond, rethink the way we respond, staff trucks differently. We still responding to a record number of, we still respond to COVID patients now and again, but our mental health calls are through the roof, especially children. Overdoses. And now we done, besides opiate, now we're throwing in LSD. We've had a couple of them come into the county EMS, county system here that we've had to pick up. My recommendation is, when we get back to another cause, other counties, and I know I think I talked to the chairman about it some time ago. Other counties, just before COVID, Northampton County was paying more or at the same, such as Wake County. And now we're lagging behind them by $8.44 an hour. And that's because Wake County waited until they fell into what I call the abyss. They waited till they were 76 positions down just to take action. So it took that county raising their wages, and then Durham County followed, and then Johnston County, then it just caused a wave, and now it's causing a wave, and that wave is heading towards Northampton County. Okay. Nash just raised theirs, Franklin County. You can travel a little bit down the road to Wilson, and they're paying $30,000 more a year for the same job that you do here. So around us, as of this week, when I checked, Warren County has 15 open positions. Not an applicant in sight. Halifax County 10, Bertie 5, Hertford, they haven't even gone paramedic level yet. They've had some paramedics. They're still at the advanced EMT level. So you have all of those openings with EMTs. To let you know, we've been maintaining ourselves just this week. We've been answering calls. We've sent some of our units to Warren County. We've answered a call in Warren County, and we answer calls typically about every week in Hertford County because they get down to one truck available for all their citizens. So I'm recommending to the commissioners that we do, while we're still not in that position with the other counties, that we do take some action on that. I'm asking to raise EMT and paramedics pay to try to retain people, and also maybe a little bit more to try to recruit people in the future. That's what it's got to. I didn't want to wait until we had a problem that was out of control. I started probably back in August, September timeframe, meeting with the county manager on this problem, saying, hey, we're starting to struggle. And now we're at the point to, this is where we're at. And I know it's going to cost, and I put that in the package, what I was asking to raise it to. There may be some savings. I do know that we've collected more money this year than we did last year. And also there might be some savings. And I went back and pulled what we were spending in overtime. Okay. Give you comparison, even though Wake County went up like they did, they pay a whole lot more money. They've also, since July 1st, they've overspent their overtime budget by $6.1 million since then. So find my piece of paper. So fiscal year 20, when we were started into the pandemic, EMS overspent their overtime budget by $20,571 $571. The next year, it went from that to 70,824. This past fiscal year, we overspent our overtime budget by $286,497. This year, we're on track to overspend it by $250,000 during that time. So I do think if we retain people and quit having a overturn, that I think there's some savings there. And we do try to be frugal on that, but at the end of the day, if we have outages, we have to put somebody in the truck. We have depleted our part-time roster because most of the part-time people who were looking for a job, we've had to hire them because we had outages. So we need about 50 part-time people to make this EMS system work. We have 15. So that's where we're at. Nothing has changed. No service to the citizens has dropped. Everybody's still getting an ambulance like they should. Is that I just didn't want to sit around and wait. So 4 or 5 more people left for other reasons, and we've had several reasons. I provided documentation to the county manager where one lady, she regretted leaving, but if it came down to her loyalty to Northampton County and a loyalty to her family, she got a $27,000 a year pay increase for coming to work for Wake County. She went to Wake County. And just this past March 1st, we hired a gentleman, and we even bought his uniforms the day before he was supposed to come into work. Somebody else hired him at $4 more an hour. So he went to work with that. So
Thank you. Thank you so much for the information. Tough decision, county board of commissioners have to make of the county manager. I just need to ask you one question, then. Where does this stop?
That is a good question.
If we go up and Halifax going up, then Hereford County going up, Burke Keys going up, then if they go up, we got to go up. Is there any stopping to this?
Yes, I thought about that. You know, we kind of think on the same plane. And like I told the commissioners before, it's not all about the money either. Okay. We could go up, and Wake County went up, they paid starting out $8.44 more an hour. We do. Some people making $15 more an hour, but they're still struggling. What the problem is, they don't get it. It's not all about the money. It's also about work environment. It's all about how you appreciate it. It's all about resetting your workforce to deal with these new people, these younger people coming in. It's all about having technology. It's all about having decent equipment. Don't have I know y'all saw on the news, WREL, where Durham County paramedics came in and they normally staff 19 trucks a day, and only 7 would roll down the road. So it's the money is a little bit, but it's also about some other factors there too. And I think we have all the other factors taken care of, and very mindful. That's why we've made it this far without having to come before you before. So, but I do think that we do need to adjust our salaries, at least to retain people, because of the market value. It's supply and demand. The supply is down and the demand is high. And I think that's where the stopping point is at, because I'm concerned about that, because I know I mess with budgets all day. I know that the county just don't have an unlimited supply of money. So we can't just raise ours and in response to Halifax raise that again. But we can do a little bit better on this end, and then on all the other factors, make sure we take care of our workforce, make sure we have good equipment, make sure we have good technology, which we do. We have, the commissioners have been very, very good on providing up-to-date cardiac monitors. Our ambulances are in we have some new ones, and then we have a wide variety of different trucks. We have another one on the way that's being refurbished and remounted
I have a question
Yes.
for you. From what I'm reading throughout the state of North Carolina,
Yes, ma'am.
it is dismal when it comes to EMS services. But what a lot of places are doing, they are establishing what they call EMS explorers. They're using their middle school students in grades 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And they are trying to get those kids funneled into being paramedics.
Yes.
And that seemed to be a great recruitment ploy by some of the counties in North Carolina, as far as retaining. Have we done any kind of promotion with the young people at the high schools, at the career days, and all these other places that you could promote EMS services, Northampton County EMS services?
Yes, ma'am. Well, actually, that's how we stayed afloat. We actually involved with a group over in Gaston. I did put it in the a budget request, a small request to establish one here at the county because I think we're missing some people on the East End. So we have pulled quite a few people from that cadet or explorer program from the West End. And we do at this time what we're doing to combat it. I'm just not sitting around waiting for the commissioners to do all the hard lifting. Right now, even tonight, we have an EMT class going on in the West End. We have a EMT class going on in the school system. We have an EMT class getting ready to start at the Joe White Center there in Rich Square. We've also been in discussion with Roanoke Chowan Community College to even if we have to hire EMTs, which we did, we've hired didn't get the chance to hire any paramedics, but we hired as much EMTs as we could to train the EMTs here at the county through a memorandum of understanding with Roanoke Chowan Community College. So there's things that we were doing trying to combat this problem. Also, this past weekend, I spent all day Saturday and a whole bunch of other folks. We had a regional competition for those explorer posts that you speak of. And we had explorers from all around the region. We had travel as far away as Columbus County up here and compete. And they had a good time. But yes, that's how you keep people in the pipeline. But seeing that side of it too, again, that sector or how we were getting people is starting to struggle too. I think we're in a recruitment lull because of COVID. That's just my opinion about it. But it's and all these factors I brought for you, if you would just put them in the Google search bar, you're right. It's dismal. It'd probably scare you to death.
Okay.
And I just didn't want us to get behind. At least wanted to start the conversation.
Got it.
County.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Board members, we have all this information when we begin to do our budget. And we probably will call you in, or county manager will call you and ask some more questions about this. Because we do know that this is critical for us to making sure that we have these services are available for the citizens. Thank you for the job that you're doing. And I think our commissioner said it best. We need to grow our own. We need to start growing our own. He said it better than I could ever say it. Okay, thank you. All you're doing. Okay. At this time, we have the proposal for non-renewal contract. Becky Turner.
Good evening, board. Thank you for allowing me to come before you tonight. Good to see you all, Ms. Finance Officer. What you have before you is a copy of our contract with the FCC Federal Communications Commission. The Public Works Department has had a radio for years that they have used for communication throughout the county. And it works not as good as the cellular service, actually. And so this board had agreed in July for Public Works to obtain cell phone for the field staff for the first time. And they also obtained tablets that they're using for emails. And so we're using those, the tablets, and we're doing work orders really through email so that we have a trail and know when a work order has been completed, or if there was a customer complaint about an issue, you know, we can follow up with that customer and know what was done and so forth. And so that's being done by email, and our communication is done now with cell phone. And we really have not used the radio service since October. And so I see it is time for the county to renew its FCC license for that call sign, KNFP 334. And respectfully, I would say that we no longer are in need of that FCC license for Public Works.
Okay, board members. Director telling us she doesn't need that license anymore. They will use cellular phones and so forth. Save us $500 to get to EMS. I know that'll help you. Oh, boy, we're taking this under consideration. Now voting tonight, we're just taking all under consideration. We'll vote at our next meeting. But thank you for the information. Unless another board member has something you need to ask. Board members? Board members? Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Okay?
Okay. Were there any other questions for me?
No, we ain't got no more. We ain't got no more. Okay. CADA. I don't see her. She with us, Rhonda. She's got the information. Will you do it for me, Attorney?
Yes, sir, Chairman Tyner. Board members, this is a renewal of the Department of Social Services annual contract with the with Chillicothe Public Transportation Authority. This is a contract that the board enters into every year. I'm sorry. And I'm assuming, I don't have the information, I don't have the background that Ms. Taylor obviously would, but I'm assuming that the rates may be a little higher. The proposed rates for the next year are out of county $28.98 per one-way trip. And I don't even know what Chairman Faulkner, Vice Chair Faulkner, do you know what EDTAP stands for? Anyway, that's $14.33. I was expecting Ms. Taylor to be here, but this contract follows the same form that the county has entered into for years. So legally it's fine. I guess it's the dollar amounts that I would ask the board to look into before the next meeting.
Okay. County managers would look into this, and of course we can't change it. That's what they've given to us. And make sure that Rhonda Taylor includes it in her budget. She has the most of the traveling done through social services. You'll do that for us in preparing the budget. Board members, do you have any questions you need to ask about that situation?
I think we've asked this before about other possible contracts. I know fuel costs is not as high as it was last year this time, but they're going up again in their price, and I think they've gone up every year.
Well, I need to say this to you. That's the only one we have as of this time providing those kinds of services. We can advertise and see if there's anybody else who want to come in our county. I think we had someone on schedule tonight to do a presentation for us about providing transportation, but they cancel out tonight. So maybe we will have others who would give us a quote on providing transportation. I don't know what they provide, but that's what they want to talk to us about. So if you work that out with our county manager with,
Would you like me to reach out to Ms. Taylor?
To know if there was an RFP out for this contract to solicit and solicit other bids.
Right, I'll convey that to her.
okay, thank you. Thank you. Board members, any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
that EDT money, that's for the elderly transportation. I heard Attorney McKellar ask about that.
That's for what?
Elderly
Elderly
transportation.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Edwards represent us on that board, so he would know. Okay. All right, if we move forward, we know that we now have before you, board members, a look at our strategic plan for Northampton County. I asked our vice chairman, she would go through that right now with us.
Good evening, everyone. As you know, our strategic plan that we have is slated to end at the end of our fiscal year 2023. And we have been working on the 2023-2027 strategic plan. We have several big bucket items that we, in our work session that we had at the NC Car facility. Out of that work session, recreation infrastructure that included water, sewer, roads, and broadband, tax rate, education, long range facility planning, human resources for recruitment and retention, finance, which is an ongoing strategic effort for us, economic development, capital projects, and health and safety. And I think tonight we heard something from a lot of these different areas from our departments. But what I'm seeking in order to, and my role is just to try to facilitate pulling it together in a uniform, easy to explain format for our citizens and giving our county staff some direction into where we want to be, so that if you write it down and make it plain, then your efforts can have more impact if you're clear. There was some areas that we did not have dates, and it's not that they have to be in there, but I would like to ask in this work session if the tax rate, which is the first one that had a blank, we have been looking at cutting our taxes by 0.5% annually. So we don't necessarily have to have a buy date. We can just leave it as Northampton will continue, I guess now, because the formal one said begin to strategically provide tax relief to its citizens, and annually by July 1, which is our fiscal year, cut residential taxes by 0.5%. So if you all are okay with taking out the time frame limit there, and we're not really making them SMART goals, we're just making them our strategic goals. Most times SMART goals, you have a time bound in there, but it's within the actual steps, which is by the July 1st. So if you're okay with us just removing that part and changing begin to continue. This is pretty much lifted from our current plan, but it's just saying we're going to continue to work towards reducing taxes, which was something in our planning session we were all committed to. Are you all okay with us?
Yes, I am. Are you all?
I know we're not voting on it tonight. I'm just trying to get some of the logistic parts. The next one was in under education. It was having a long-range funding plan for capital needs in education. We didn't have a date there to have that plan in place. And part of that was receiving the updated facility plan and needs from the local school system. I know we've asked for that. So it's kind of hard to put the date really soon until we actually get that plan, and given the new leadership time to get those needs to us. But developing a long-term funding plan for the capital needs identified by the school system. So between 2023 and 2027, is there a year that you all think we could have the plans? Not that we've actually funded it, but we have to have a plan to how we would fund the needs identified.
I just believe it ought to be now, at least by the beginning of our new fiscal year, that we ought to have a plan. So that we'll know, if we don't have that plan, we won't know how to fund the schools. Years to come. So we just need to know that plan, then we'll know then on what it is we need to do, how we need to plan for. We need it because we won't know how much to put in there this year. Because we need to look at the total plan and see what we need to do each year for capital outlay. That's just my thinking. That's why we need it as soon as possible.
And most of the time, the facilities needs plans are about a 5-year plan. So if so you're saying July 1, 2023 or 2023? Okay. So we would either be in the middle of their plan or at the beginning. The economic development, it says reconvene. It makes some grammatical checks there.
Let's do that, let's do that right to July. Let's do July, starting July 1, we're gonna convene that. If that's all right with you all. We'll make sure it's all right. We'll start back the economic development board, okay?
And I know we did have some vacancies on that board, so if we have any interest, maybe we can bring those applications at the next meeting. That will help. And just an overview of the others, the recreation. Some of these are holdovers from our last strategic plan that we didn't finish. We checked off almost everything in our previous strategic plan, but there were some things that we started, but we hadn't finished. And so in there, we talked about expanding the recreation department's reach into each community, continuing to do that. The Rich Square facility was a part of our strategic plan before, and because of the results of some of the studies done on that facility, it's caused us to look at our strategic plan again about design and engineering bids for meeting space to address the building that cannot be utilized. Continuing to look at the bids for that second phase of the Culture and Wellness Center project that was developed many years ago that included an indoor gymnasium and a pool. 2027, beginning the next phase of the Culture and Wellness project. So looking at the bids in 2025 and trying to actually start that, completing the Lake Gaston project and completing the Rich Square project by the end of our strategic plan. That's our goals. The infrastructure, and over the course of the past 4 or 5 months, we've heard citizens talk about water. We've heard the town of Garrettsburg and our financials talk about the wastewater treatment and how much we're spending to send that out. So we talk about seeking funding to continue water expansions to address the water needs in our communities, and funding a wastewater treatment plant to be located in Garrettsburg. Seek citizen needs and requests related to secondary road improvements not covered by NCDOT. So we need to hear from the citizens that are impacted by those roads that are not covered by NCDOT, and then seeing how we can partner with our state and other agencies to provide reprieve for those citizens. Solicit plans for long-range broadband internet connectivity. We did have a short-term fix with US Cellular, but of course it did not address the needs in all of our communities. And we do have to look for something that can be more long-range and address the needs of a larger part of our population as well. And then begin design and construction, hopefully by 2025, and of the water lines, wastewater treatment plants, and that support for the improvement of those secondary roads as prioritized following citizen input. So this is something that it's saying it's not the county doing alone as a government agency, but including our citizen input. Capital projects. Because I know the citizens may not have seen all of these. So I want to make you aware of what we have been looking at. And of course, when we finalize this, there's opportunities for citizens to give feedback, input before we make this more formalized. Capital projects, seek and prioritize and secure funding for capital project needs in the county to ensure safety and efficiency. Prioritize the capital needs, capital projects for our county. Receive quotes for a new county animal shelter. We have had conversations with staff and volunteers at the animal shelter, but we need to start moving forward and getting actual quotes and working to seek funding to get those projects completed. Health and safety by 2027, Northampton County improve accessibility, access to affordable, high quality medical and behavioral health care. And work with regional providers of medical and behavior care to assess the level of access to care within Northampton County. So we want to add, this is talking about access to and assessing the access to, but I would like to know if the commissioners would like to put some more meat in the health and safety. There is just assessing it. It's not saying we're actually going to move forward and try to do anything.
We certainly want to look at what we can do with bringing the medical facility to the county. That's what we said in our meeting we want to do. How we're going to do it, we don't know. If you mentioned that, we talked about the health department working with us and getting us grants to bring a 24-hour health facility.
That's the language I need to know what you want, the 24-hour.
24-hour health facility in our county.
Or at least in urgent care also, Mr. Chairman.
Say that again.
In urgent care, you know, when it's open to 8 p.m.
Yeah, that's basically what I was talking about.
Oh, yes, sir. I heard you say 24 hours. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, we want 24 hours. Yes, sir. That's what we need somewhere in our county. It need to be 24 hours, even if we gotta tie it to our EMS, tied to our health department. We need to look at ways of doing that. Because we need that stop before you get to run a rapid, or before you get to do. Okay, even green. We need that stop.
And that's what I kind of heard tonight when our EMS department was talking. If we lose that
Right.
that conduit of healthcare that's all our citizens have access to after the regular doctor's office closed, we'd be in a mess.
That's right.
And you use that term, but yes, our citizens would be really stranded. And so we do need to try to see how we can creatively do something. So I will add that in and then reshare that back to Ms. Atia for your wordsmithing. And I know this was one of Commissioner Edwards's hot button topics.
Right.
So that if you can make sure I have the language in there that matches what your passion and your vision is as well. As all of the other commissioners here, I appreciate that. This may take a few iterations before we get something that we all can kind of set on before we come back to the county citizens. I think I've explained each of the parts and you filled in some holes for us, and I appreciate that.
Well, members, you have anything you want to add to this? You need to add. Well, this is just a roadmap for us. Without a plan, you don't go anywhere. You gotta have a plan. Does not mean we won't do other things now, because every day new things are coming up. Means at least we got somewhere in writing kinds of things that we want to see happen in Northampton County.
I think this is a great start. Great start.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam.
Teamwork, teamwork.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Great start and well illustrated, Commissioner Faulkner.
Thank you.
Thank you all for all the input. This was truly a board project and I appreciate all of the feedback. I'll get something else to Mr. Atia by Thursday of this week.
And board members, when you get it, if you see anything else you want to add, delete, please let us know. Please let us know. It's all of us doing this together. We got to make it work. Okay. At this time, we shall have from our tax department. I'm on tax department. You're late.
Good evening. Bring you greetings from the Northampton County Tax Department. I have 3 items on the agenda. I won't be before you very long. The first one is to obtain the board's approval for 7 ad valorem tax appeals in the amount of $3,315.59.
Board members, what is your pleasure?
We don't approve.
We're not doing it tonight. Okay, go on. We'll do it next time.
Okay.
Being our consent agenda, just go ahead and give it to us.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, so the next item is to obtain the board's approval for 21 motor vehicle ad valerems in the amount appeals in the amount of $1,113.81.
Board members, you got any questions? It'll be an hour next. Okay. Thank you.
So one more, I have a resolution actually. We have someone who has opened a bid for county-owned property in the amount of $750. That's the opening bid amount.
Now someone can upset that bid 10 days.
Not right now. This is the opening bid. This is the first one we had.
Get them saying, but someone can't.
Yes, sir. Oh, yes.
It'll continue on until the
Yes, sir.
10 days and nobody rebids. Okay. Well, members, y'all got in?
On this property, is it land owning or is there a structure on this property?
I do believe that it's just land and it's landlocked, meaning it's surrounded, it's a piece of land surrounded by other.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
Okay, that's it. That's what we need.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Can I ask a question?
yes.
Because this is the first time we've gone back to doing the work session and then the planning. So
Okay.
if there are additional appeals that our tax administrator wants to bring before us, these would be in the consent agenda. How would we handle, because normally we're getting some every 2 weeks. How would we handle the ones we haven't voted on, just to know how this is gonna look? Because it's just new for me for this
Got it.
part.
I'm thinking, attorney, that she really need not to bring them to us. We will have once a month. That's all she needs to do, because it's gonna keep going up, but it's bring it back to us, bring it back to us, bring it back to us.
And that still be added to the consent agenda as well.
I think so. And from my review of other counties, that's typically how they do it. Because it's more of a formality in most cases. And so even matters on the consent agenda, any board member has the right to request that it be removed from the consent agenda to be discussed more thoroughly.
Thank you. Did I answer your question?
Yes, I just want to make sure she was aware of what to do, and then I was aware of what I'd be looking for.
Okay, thank you.
We good to go?
We good, thank
Thank
you.
you. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you. You're the same. At this time, we're gonna have budget amendments.
Good evening, everyone. I will be presenting one budget amendment. Budget amendment number 33 for Public Works in the amount of $12,500. And this was just a reprogramming of funds.
Board members, if you have a question about the reprogramming of monies for public works.
Okay?
Okay. That's all the one you have?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Next, I'll be presenting the year-to-date spend report.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. Okay,
So the rule of thumb for the month of February was to stay below 67% of the annual budget. The actual plus encumbrances for general fund was 19.8 million or 61%. Enterprise, 2 million or 63%. Garysburg Water and Sewer, 287,000 or 26%. And to speak to the 26%, they planned for 400,000 to go towards a tank repair, but it was later determined that it was not needed. A solid waste is 2.2 million at 92%. And to explain the reason for the 92%, there was a blanket PO that was issued for annual curbside pickup. And finally, DSS, 3.8 million or 54%. And this concludes the presentation of the spend report, if you have any questions. That's it.
Commissioner, that's just good news. It's just good news. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're gonna expect this every month.
Yes.
I know Vice Chairman is really excited about that. So she is. I am too. Thank you for keeping your eyes on the budget. See, anything has caused us to be alarmed. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us in Northampton County. We appreciate you. We've all heard good things about what you're doing, happening to Northampton County in this department. They stay on budget.
Right.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. At this time, are there any, we didn't want to have any, but we'll have some tonight. Are there any public? Okay, there's not. We're gonna have those on our voting night. Am I right? Y'all want to have them on this night too? This is new for us, folks. Our first meeting is going to be just information given to us. Next meeting will be where we just go on and vote because we have all the information. This is new for me. It's what they want and that's what we're going to do. It's going to work out fine. So we get all the kinks out of it. Okay.
I think it's helpful that the citizens have a chance to hear all the information, formulate their questions, ideas, and then when they come back for the public comment section, they actually have all the information they need to actually talk about the business that we've just went through.
Okay. Thank you.
But you can always call us.
Yeah, we rather have those. County manager.
Okay.
All of us, Commissioner, we'd like to hear from you. Anything that we can do to help make you feel comfortable. Northampton. So at this time, the county manager, you have any?
Good evening, everyone. Just briefly, I did include, excuse me, pollen is really getting to me. I did include in this packet the budget calendar for your review. Take a look at the dates. The dates in red are alternate dates that if we can't stick to the dates in black, excuse me, but it lays it all out from the initial department meetings. And then moving into the budget presentation, I'm losing my voice. All the way to the annual.
That's all right.
It's kicking my butt, the pollen, the public hearing. And then finally, the adoption of the budget.
Got it. This will be public. Please publish this. First of all, before you publish it, county commissioner, make sure these dates are okay in your schedule. Please let to the board know if these dates are okay with. Because we don't want to have these without you being here. I want all board members, if you're not here, at least you here virtually, but I really want you here because I think budget formation is the most important part of what we do. And when we do it, it is kind of in stone for the year. So I do want you to look at those dates. Once by Friday, Tia, if you will, if you hear from all of us, these dates are fine. Will you go on and put them on our web page and publish them in the paper? Do everything that we need to do so that everybody will know when our budget workshops will be and the final, the dates, final budget for the year. Okay. Board members, do you have any comments tonight? Do you have any comments? Mr. Elvis, you have any comments?
I have no comments, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Elvis?
I know you didn't want me to say anything so we can go home before breakfast time, right? But I just want to thank everybody for coming out. And I want to let everybody know that on tomorrow night at the at Northampton County Library, that Shawan Housing Department will be there. And they want to do a needs assessment with our citizens to find out the housing needs that we have in our area. So if you're not doing anything tomorrow between 5:30 and 7, I will see you at the library.
Thank you. How about it? Yeah,
Just thank everybody for coming out tonight.
about it, Vice Chairman.
As our county manager start to deal with pollen, the pollen season this year is slated to be pretty rough. So if you have an elderly person or yourself who suffer with seasonal allergies, make sure you protect yourself. Again, thank everyone for coming. Please make sure that you give your input about things that you would like to see happening in the county prior to the budget being created for original draft. Have those conversations so that we can hear your voice and put our money where the needs are. Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you all for coming and joining with us. Time is gone and we are going to ask you to come join us again at our next meeting. We do appreciate all that you do for Northampton County. Well, we know this county is moving forward. I would like to say to you that we are in Raleigh, we're in DC, we're pressing for every bit of the monies we can get to come to Northampton County. I promise you, there are some monies coming for Northampton County to better our county, and you'll see that in the days to come. But we're working real hard to make sure that we get our share of the funds. Last year, our county got more than any other county down in here in the east. Because we got the millions of dollars we got. By the way, the courthouse is coming along fine. And the annex will be starting up next at the courthouse. And they'll probably be starting in another 30 to 60 days. And there's another building that's going there. It's all going without a dime being taken from us here in Northampton County locally from our tax. Again, thank you all for coming. Got any questions, anything you need to talk to any of the commissioners about, feel free to do so. You need to talk to our county manager, please call. You need to have some schedule you want to talk about, feel free to call and get it scheduled. And we just want all of us to go down this road together. Again, could I have a motion now that we would adjourn this long meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Would have probably second that we adjourn this long meeting. Are you ready for your question? All in favor, the known by you sign aye.
I brought Dax Taylor.
Aye, Charles Town. Aye, motion is carried.